Happy Thanksgiving to one and all. I'm out here on the farm. As you can tell, I'm gonna go walk through a grove right now of apricots to make you a little video. So yeah, happy Thanksgiving, day for gratitude. And I've been getting so many emails and messages from the Vipassana video. And for those of you guys who watched it, thank you. And for those of you guys who got value, thank you. And for those of you guys who registered, amazing, congratulations. I'm super happy for you. And I'm making this video I actually wanted to make a few days ago, but for some reason I can't find my lav mic. And I brought my handheld device thing that's supposed to take away all the shakes of the camera, and I forgot a piece to attach the phone to it. So I'm just old schooling it and holding up my hand while I make this video. So here's what I want to talk to you guys about. I got an email this morning asking me to make a video a month from the day that I made that Vipassana video, and the guy was, really impressed with all the content, but in the background was something like along the lines of, when your emotions calm down, please make a video. And I know where he's coming from. It's like when you write a review on Amazon right after you get the product breaks a month later, and then you want to go and adjust the review because the experience is not the same. And I know he's coming from the place of asking, is this going to last? Because I guess he wants the certainty that if he goes to do an experience like that, it might last. Maybe, right? I'm making that up, but that's at least what I took away from it. So here's what I want to tell you. There are certain things in life that come to you like knowledge. So if you go to certain experiences, quote unquote, I've had those too. You go to an event, you leave, you're really hyped up. Your adrenaline is pumping, dopamine's being released, and then a week or two later, sometimes even a few days later, you just are like, why did I feel so good? How come I don't feel that way anymore? Where's my confidence? I'm not empowered. All that kind of stuff, right? And there's a phenomenon, and there's a reason for that. And I'm going to scientifically talk to you about what that reason is, because there's actually a reason that stuff happens. So look, there are knowledge experiences where you gain knowledge, and those will have you feeling empowered for short periods of time. But if that knowledge is not backed up with a physical feeling and experience, I'm telling you right now, it's not going to last. And there are very far and few experiences that I've had that I could truly say have fundamentally changed my belief system and how I operate in the world. And I can think of a handful of those, but we have those all the time, right? When you first learn how to walk, that's a knowledge, but it's also an understanding. And I want to make a distinction between what you know and what you understand. And we'll use the word what you understand as something that you physically experience with your body, with your mind. Kind of like I was talking about riding a bike. That's an understanding that you have now about balance. Same thing with walking. When you learn how to walk, you have an understanding now about walking. Kids who haven't learned how to walk yet don't have that understanding. They can't walk. Now, with that understanding, you can do something with it. You can get better. You can get worse at it, of course. And this is what happens with transformation, because transformation is not something that's relegated to a course or to taking yoga or to meditating. You guys are having transformative thoughts all the time. We're all having transformative thoughts all the time. You hear people say things like, I do my best thinking while I'm in the shower. I do my best thinking while I'm on the toilet. I do my best thinking while I'm in the car. And you'll have these thoughts, and they might be something like, I'm never going to smoke again. I'm never going to drink again. I'm never going to talk to them again. I'm never going to do that again. Or I am going to do that again. Or I'm going to start exercising more and more, right? These are all transformative thoughts. They would literally transform the way that you operate in the world and the way that you show up with yourself and with other people. They would change your confidence. They would do a lot of things for you. And the reason this stuff don't stick, I'm going to tell you right now. So there is a distinction that my brother and I use, and we just taught it this week to our mastermind group for people that we coach. And if you are interested in learning more about that, I could put a link to a webinar that we did down below. It's a recorded webinar, and you can watch it. And if you're interested in coming to work with myself or my brother, you'll have that prerogative to do that as well. Sorry, just adjusting the camera. My arm is starting to hurt, but I'll hold it up as much as I can. So here's why transformation doesn't stick. And this is where I think that email was coming from, is this going to stick? But I am aware of this phenomenon, and I use it in order to empower myself and others all the time. In fact, those videos that I made are part of that phenomenon, and I'm going to explain it to you. So what you do is, when we have transformative thoughts, I want you to imagine that you're a circle, and around you, like one level out, is another level out, and that's all the people in your life that you met. You could call that your family. Circle out from there could be your friends, etc. So from the moment me and you meet, and we shake each other's hand, and I tell you that my name is Guy, and you tell me that your name is Sarah, or your name is Ben, or whatever it is. I actually have friends Sarah and Ben, but I'm not even thinking of that. That just came out. From that moment on, what we're doing constantly is we are training each other. We are training each other about what we do like and what we don't like, what you can say, what you can't say, what's fair, what's not fair, what's my political view, what's my religious view. We do this very naturally, and we do it through storytelling. We start telling each other stories about ourselves. We love talking about ourselves. And in that way, what you're telling people is lessons about you, about what's good and what's bad, right? And that goes for relationships and your health and everything. And because of that, your network, and that's what we're going to call these other circles outside of you, that's your network of conversations, because these are the conversations you've trained people on. And now that's the belief they have about you. So here you are, you go to a course, you go to Vipassana, you go to Landmark, you go do some yoga, you have something, or you just have a transformative thought in your car or on the toilet or in the shower, and you go, okay, well, I'm not going to do that anymore. Well, one of the ways that people test their reality, or two of the ways I should say, that humans test their reality, again, these are two phenomenons that are very good to become aware of. One of the ways we test reality is through our 5 senses. We actually have 6 senses if you take the mind into that also. You have 6 senses, right? So can I touch it? Can I smell it? Can I feel it? Can I taste it? Can I see it? If I can do those things, it must be real. But if you look, oftentimes some things you think you see are not really there. Some things you think you smell are not really there. Not a great test for reality. Another test for reality that we use is called the agreement test. If a lot of people agree upon it, it must be true. And if we look out into the world, you'll often see we have things called social proof. We use that in marketing all the time via testimonials. Why do we do that? Because we know that this is how people test their reality. And if you're testing your reality through social proof, and a lot of people are saying it's a good thing, it's probably a good thing. So you agree with it. Now we can look at our history as human beings. At some point, we believed that the earth was flat. That was based on social agreement, social proof. And that had a very real impact on the way that people lived their lives and how they saw themselves in the world. That was not true. At some point, we believed that the earth was the center of the universe. Everybody on the planet thought that they were divine creatures. They thought they were gods. When they found out that that wasn't true, they had to deal with that, right? But at that time, that was true, based on agreement. You were born into that conversation of agreement. So we could see that these are not great tests for reality, but we use them all the time. So you do this with yourself also. You have a thought and you transform something. I'm going to lose weight. But what happens is then you go out into your network, and you've already trained your network that you're not somebody who takes care of themselves. So you get out there with your little transformation, and you think that the whole world's going to see it. Hey, look at me. I'm transformed. I'm going to be healthy now. And you've probably told your network 15 times before that you're going to be healthy, but you've never done it. So they go out there and they go, okay, there she is again, doing that thing. And what you see is that there is no agreement for your transformation. So you start doubting yourself, and you start thinking that the experience you just had, or the thought that you just had, couldn't possibly be real, and you give up on it because, again, you're testing your reality and you're finding that there's zero agreement for your transformation. So when you transform, I want you to imagine that instead of being a circle, you turn into a triangle. And the key to your transformation is not to keep your transformation here. And that's what people do. They transform themselves here, and then they think everyone's going to see their beautiful transformation. And that's it, and that's how it's going to work. And then time and time again, they're flabbergasted when the feeling goes away. And they're so attached to that feeling. So if they don't feel it anymore, then they're not going to do it, and they start procrastinating again. The way you transform yourself is by engaging and enrolling your environment in that which you've now transformed. So if I've had a relationship with my mom that's gone a certain way for a very long time, but I suddenly have a transformative thought, and I realize, okay, well, I've changed. My thoughts have changed. My paradigm has changed, but nobody knows. What do I do? So I got to go and tell mom, hey mom, look, I know that for my whole life I've been operating like this, but I see the impact now on myself. I see the impact on you. I see the impact on others. And I realize after all this time, that is not what I'm committed to at all. So I'm taking responsibility that that's how I've shown up in the world. But I want you to know that this last week I had this completely new thought, and it's having me show up really different in the world. And the way that I see it's impacting me is XYZ. And the way I see it impacting you is XYZ. So I want you to know that that's what you could hold me accountable to now. I want to be responsible for that. And what you're doing there is just like what you did when you first shook hands with that person. Instead of enrolling them in the stories that you've held for so long, you have to enroll them in the new story, in the new possibility, in your new transformation. Because what you're now doing is you're creating your environment to be in agreement with that which you've transformed. And the more that you share your transformation, the more that when you look out into the world and you test your reality through agreement, the more that reality is going to now agree with you. And then transformation becomes easy because you're like, whoa, look, everyone sees it. It must be true. You can't undo that part of ourselves, how we test reality. So often I see people withholding their transformation, and then it disappears and they don't understand where the feeling went or where the motivation went or where the confidence went. But that's where it went, guys. It's just your network. And it's up to you to share your transformation with your network so that there's agreement for it, so that when you test your reality, it's there. I have this new thing over this last year that when people have birthday wishes, we always withhold our birthday wishes. We don't tell them to anybody as if they're not coming true. Guys, that's not true. Do you get that? That's like mythology. We made that up. If in order for you to transform your life, your network has to be in agreement with your transformation. And again, this is not about manipulating or convincing your network of anything. It's aligning them with what you see as possible and how that would positively impact both you and them for new outcomes that you probably both want. So when you're making a birthday wish and you're withholding it, that's a possibility that you want to put out into the universe to be created. But you create some birthday wish and you don't tell your network, guess what? Birthday wish don't come true. So I've been having my friends, myself, anybody who makes a birthday wish, say it out loud because your network is right there. Everybody who comes to your birthday, that's your network. That's what they believe about you. If they're not aligned with what you want to create, it's going to be really difficult for you to create it. If they're aligned, it's so easy. So say your birthday wishes. And today, when you're going around the Thanksgiving table, I hope that you and your family take a moment to really think about what you're grateful for. And if you haven't been grateful for something, get present to what you haven't been grateful for. And enroll each other in that possibility of what life and the world looks like when you're grateful for that thing. Because there's your network. And they want to support you. But we've been trained to battle each other and withhold information from each other and not tell each other who we are and be vulnerable. Those videos I made, that's why I made them. I want people to see what vulnerability looks like, and I want you to see that there was no weakness in that. There's power in that. And there's power in you, like you would not believe. Potential power that's waiting to be unleashed. But it's up to you guys. It's up to you to share. And when you start sharing, you're going to open up. We see it every day in our coaching group. I've seen it every day for 13 years with people who share. Because they start understanding that their vulnerability, their story, that's their power. Especially the one that you don't tell other people. Especially the one that when people compliment you in the back of your mind, you say to yourself, you feel like shit suddenly. You ever notice how humans, we want all this attention, then we get it suddenly, we get a compliment, and we turn into a peanut. We can't handle it. Why is that? My assertion is somewhere in the background you have this little story about yourself. And when people give you a compliment, you say to yourself, if you really knew who I was, or some version of this, if you really knew who I was, you wouldn't be saying that. Whatever that story is that's having you say that, you think that if people knew that story about you, they would head for the hills. They would run away. Wouldn't be your friends. They wouldn't talk to you anymore. And I could tell you after 13 years of telling that story, of watching other people tell that story, the exact opposite of what you perceive will happen will happen. Instead of people running away, they will come in like bees to honey. They will run in your direction. They will want to be with you. They will see something inside of you that they want to see inside of themselves. We call that vulnerability. That story that you don't tell, that's your access point to the power in your life. And from there, you can have whatever you want and transform anything you need. but you got to share with your community, and you got to get them aligned with the way that you perceive the world, because then it'll be easy for you to perceive the world that way as well. Guys, I'm telling you again, and this is to put that person at ease, this isn't going away. I didn't have a rah-rah weekend where I got all jazzed up about something and I don't remember how it works. I had an experience that fundamentally changed the cells in my freaking body. And I'm sharing this with you because I want to inspire you to look and see that there's, again, nothing special about what I did here. I just invested time. I was devoted. I am devoted. Continue to be so. And you could be too. And you could have power in your life and freedom and love and self-expression and vulnerability and all these things that we all talk about conceptually, but we all don't actually live. You can live them every single day. Have peace in your life. Have joy in your life. It's not that far away, trust me. So, I don't need to wait a month. This ain't going nowhere. I ain't falling off the wagon. I might dip and trip here and there, but I know what I'm doing, at least as far as the experiences that I've had. And I'm sure I'll have way many more, and maybe 6 months from now or a year from now, I'll look back and say, wow, look how much further I've gotten. I didn't even know what the hell I was talking about back then, and that's fine. That's the whole point of growth, is that we're always growing. So I hope that you find things to be grateful today, that you see that you've grown, that you continue to pursue your own personal growth, because everything you want in your life is waiting on the opposite side of that. Guys, happy Thanksgiving. I love you. I know you're going to eat too much today. Enjoy it if you are. And hug the people in your life. And this is a weird holiday because it marks some terrible things in United States history, but at the same time it brings families together and it makes us appreciate the time together. I love you. Take care of yourself. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.